Welcome to Video Book Club. Tonight, our special guest is Jennifer Ryan. She is a New York Times and USA Today bestselling author, writing suspenseful contemporary romances about everyday people who do extraordinary things. And they're usually set in ranches and in the West, uh, which is a lot of fun because it combines some things that are not necessarily, put together on a regular kind of basis. Anyway, her deeply emotional love stories are filled with high stakes and higher drama, a lot of drama, family, friendships, but they all have that happily ever after that we hope to find. And that for some of us, we demand it. We don't just hope. We better be there or there's going to be a lot of unhappiness. Jennifer lives, though, in the San Francisco Bay Area with her husband and children. And when she's not writing a book, she's reading one. So she'll fit right in with us. Her obsession is often revealed in the state of her home, how late dinner is on the table, and we know about that too. And if she's not writing, she's in her garden. She plays in dirt, and she daydreams about people that are only in her head until she puts them on paper. Welcome, Jennifer. We are so delighted to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Now, what you came out with this year is this, I'm trying to move so people can see it, is See Me, Love Me. The pink one comes first and then the blue one, guys, okay? And it's considered a little series called She's Mine. And it is about a couple and how they get together, how they break up, and how they get back together again. And they go through a lot of stuff. So let's get right into it. Tell us about the origins of this, because this is a book that you said, from what I read, is that you wrote this many years ago and put in a drawer.
hmm
And then apparently you pulled it out of the drawer. And then what happened?
It was a book I wrote a very long time ago, like 2009, like way back in the day when I first started writing. And it was a book that I thought probably no publisher would take it. I felt like it was like really dark, lots of bad things happen in it, and was like, I'm not really sure that, a publisher would take it. And so recently when I started self-publishing, this was the first book. This book has been like in my head and in my heart for a long time. I love this couple, and I just felt like they worked so hard to be together that they deserve to be published. So
Okay. Well,
I did dust it off and did a little read through of it and was like, okay, I've actually definitely become a better writer since I wrote this book.
okay.
The story was there, the writing needed some polishing, so I did that. And then I hired a freelance editor and was like, what do you think of this book? I feel like it's not completely out of what I normally do, but it was a little adjacent to what I do. It was darker, like I said, and there was a lot of like topics in it that I was, that I just like I went for. Basically, he's her stepbrother. There's death in the book, and there's a lot of tragedy in the book. But I was just like, I really just wanted to like. This book has been like everything to me for a long time. So this was the book that I was like, I just want to get it published. So I sent it to the freelance editor that I had hired and said, "What do you think of the?" With a big disclaimer about all the terrible things that happen in the book, and was like, "If you're not willing to read it, that's fine. You can like let me know that." And she was like, "No, no, no, I'll do it. I'll do it." And I was like, "Okay." And so I sent it to her, and a couple weeks later, she sent me back, an edit letter, and she was like, "I just don't think it's enough." Like, are you kidding? She's like, I think it needs to be bigger. We need to like make it a duet and like make it two books. And she was right. At first the book was really just the story of her being stalked and them finally coming together. And I didn't have enough time in the end because the book was really long at that point anyways. I didn't really have enough time at the end to like really show them like dating and coming back together and healing together and then having their happy ever after. And so that's what she was like, I don't think it's enough. I think you got all this like suspense plot and then we need the love story. And so So that's what we did, as I wrote basically enough words that was like a whole other book to give the love story at the end, to give you the love me part.
Yeah, because they're not short books.
They're not short books, no. It's really two full-length novels that I did. So
Ah,
after she sent back the edits, I literally wrote what would have been the equivalent of another full-length novel in about 6 or 8 weeks, I think, to put it all together, and then sent it back to her, and she loved it, and I was so happy because I was like, yay, somebody else has read the book and they love it as much as I do.
yeah.
And so yeah, and then I self-published it, the books back to back, a month apart, just so that everybody would have it. And I was just like, I'm just gonna send it out into the world
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Well, I mean, you have a lot of themes in there that are can be disquieting to people because we've got step step kids. And I
Right.
think so was that hard to put across? I mean, you could have made the characters, a little bit different. I mean, I know that when they met, they weren't like raised from young childhood together, so that they were totally different people who were like fully formed, but it was still that like stigma of step thing. Was that
Still the
hard?
stigma of step. He was already like on his way to college, and when she arrives at the ranch, and
Mhm.
so she's much younger. I think she was 11, I think, when I
11,
had her
yeah,
come to the ranch, and he's like 18, like, or 19, like going to college. So that was enough of a gap. I figured that they would be able. He takes her under. They share the same thing. The loss, a parent leaving them, or the loss
right,
of a parent. Her father abandoned her when she was very young. His mother left his father when he was young, and so they had that in common. And so he kind of takes her under his wing. He sees that she's really shy and doesn't really know what to do on this ranch with all these men running around and stuff. And so she's kind of lost a little bit. And he definitely, in the beginning of it all, it was very innocent, and it was just two people who became friends but had something so deep in common that they were able to open up to each other in a way they couldn't open up to maybe other people in their lives who were maybe the same age as theirs. They just had this connection. And I like that sometimes you have a found family, or you find a friend, somebody who's like kind of like your mirror, who has the same experience as you, and you can just let your guard down a little bit. And for her and him, the two of them were the only people in their lives that they could truly let their guards down and just talk and have a friendship. But it was, as of course, as she gets older and becomes a teen and everything, where things get a little dicey. And he's older still, but sees that she's growing up. But he doesn't really act on that or anything. He's more of a protector still in that capacity until she comes home her senior year of college, and or before her senior year of college. And then he's just like, okay, something is different here. So I tried to make it like, you know, a good progression of their relationship. They have been best friends forever, and she has wanted more she's in puppy dog, love heaven for
hmm,
him, and doesn't she does still have that moment of, oh, that was one kind of like adoration of him, but like a real love, when she finally realizes that she really loves him and that she has to let him go to live his own life. That's when I think she like really decides, like, I've hit adulthood. I have to be the bigger person, and like I can't keep acting like this with him, and trying to keep him all to myself when he has somebody else.
right. So, and also, I mean, I don't think that this is considered that new trope of age gap trope thingy, but I mean, there is like 8 years, I would say, 8, 9 years between them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it's
uh,
about eight. I think they're 8 years apart. Yeah, so quite a distance, but not like a humongous difference where they're, completely out of touch with what each other would like, or what each other
yeah,
was doing. She's been a part of his life long enough to know, all the little things about him. She knows so much about him that his fiance, his girlfriend, is upset about it, that she knows him so well, more than she knows him. And that's just because she's just, her whole world has been Cody, and that's all she's ever thought of, that she thought that he was her future. They would always be together. Eventually they would run the ranch together, and they would have, they would always be a family. And so that thing of like, somebody leaving you when you're so young, and then knowing you have somebody who you're like, he would never leave me. And for Cody too, he's like, she would never leave me, she would never do anything to harm me. She's the one person I can count on. um, and he recognizes that he doesn't feel that way about the woman he's seeing. It's always been Brooke, and that's his cornerstone. That's home. He knows that he can always go to her, and she knows she can always go to him. And I wanted them to have that really tight connection. So writing that was hard, is to get that on the page, to like make it feel like that. That's the hard part, is to, especially when their ages are so different and you're like trying to balance that. you know, does she touch him? Does she kiss him? Does she not?
Yeah.
What does he do? How does he act with her? And so I think those opening chapters show that when she comes home from college and she is a woman now, that he's like struggling. He's like, I don't know what to do with this at the moment.
Mm.
He wants to protect her, but he also feels like there's something more now, and he's fighting it. And she's seeing that his life has changed so much that maybe she doesn't fit into it anymore, and that scares her.
Yeah, and I think it also was she didn't know where she was going to be because of things. You love to put drama in the lives of your characters. You were such a
I feel like
mean,
every book is a soap opera.
you are such a mean, mean author. I mean,
I
yeah.
try to like I try to make it real. I I know a lot of people like grew up in like a really lovely family, and that is not my experience. And so I don't know really how to write that. And so what I write is, things go wrong, things go badly, people act badly, and then you have to figure out your life. And I think for Brooke and Cody at one point, even though they've had he had a wonderful stepmother in her mother, she had a wonderful stepfather in his dad, but still it's the two of them feeling like it's us against the world kind of a thing. And so, yeah, I don't know what it is, but I always feel like there's a chance to like show like, even though you don't have security in your life, you can find it in other places. And so that's kind of how these characters are. Like they're trying to find that safety and security in the person that they trust the most.
Well, and you like to write a mean suspense. I mean, how many more bad characters could you put in this duet of books?
Writing mean people is a little bit fun. I'm not mean at all. So it's a little bit unnerving for me when I'm that mean in a book. And like, when my husband was reading my books, he's long since like stopped. He's like, I know what you do, I love what you do. He's like, I just can't anymore. So, but when he did, he would be like, you write mean really, really well. And I grew up with an alcoholic father who was mean. And I was very like aware of people around me, and I always wanted to like make people happy, and I wanted them to be, safe, and I wanted them to like feel like they belonged and everything. That's not what I had at home. So I was like trying to give other people what I really wanted. And so I know how to do mean really well and make somebody feel really bad.
Well,
I
I'm
just don't
telling
do it to
you,
people.
you had both sexes were both mean people. I mean, I could not stand Christy. From the first page showed up until I kept I said, please get rid of her, get rid of her, get rid of her, do something bad to her, get rid of her. She's such so I was not surprised.
No, and I don't think many people would be surprised that, she was going to be mean. I tried to tone her down in the beginning a little bit, but there are some people who are just like that, who are just like, everything is about me and what I want, and I don't care what other people want. On the flip side of that, when you see Brooke realizing that Cody could be happy and like has this other person. She's the one who's trying to be kind and let him go and be the responsible one. Where Christy's like the complete opposite of like, I'm gonna destroy you and get rid of you and kick you out of his life. And Brooke is, on the other hand, trying, even though she don't like this person for him or as just a person herself, she really wants to try to like make it work for him. So yeah, it was a lot of balancing on that.
And then you threw in a stalker. I mean, what the heck?
What the heck?
I was like, it was bad enough with Christy, and now we have a stalker. And I'm like, really?
I
And I
mean,
kept
Brooke is so
expecting more
perfect that,
bad things. I kept expecting more bad things in here because you've got two full-length books to put in a bunch of bad characters, which you have been known to do, Jennifer.
I
You
have.
have been, yeah.
I did. I stuck to two, and that was like, Adam is just like, he's like Cody now, right? Cody finally sees Brooke for how beautiful and wonderful she is. And Adam, when he first sees her, like recognizes it immediately. He didn't have to
Mm,
take any time to like figure out that she was perfect and his. And
mm.
he was going to do whatever he had to do to make her mine. He just wasn't well equipped to do that. Again, because if you look at his family, he was just ill-equipped to really navigate the world and like have this beautiful girl fall in love with him because he just had no idea how to accomplish that. And so he went about it completely the wrong way.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very destructive.
Very destructive and like, trying to go about it like what he was doing was just practice so that by the time he got to her, he would be the perfect person for her, the perfect partner for her. But he just goes about it the wrong way. He doesn't think things through and he becomes obsessed with just trying to be the perfect person for her. And by the time he gets to her, he's completely off and so obsessed that he doesn't really see the reality of her anymore. Like he doesn't even see that she's pregnant until the last second.
Well, this was, and then there are side characters who are also not great people. And I'm not going to give it away because you have to read the books. But I'm telling you, this is a roller coaster of a ride, and it is set in Texas. And why did you decide to set this one in Texas? Because usually you're out west. You're out like the Wyoming and the Montana, I don't know, maybe even Colorado, but you're out there. But you came to Texas, and so you did give us a ranch. You gave us the big city, gave us a university, and I think there was an oil well. I'm not sure.
I think somewhere there might have been an oil well. Yeah. The next
Yeah,
door
somebody
neighbors.
got Yeah, somebody got money from oil. I was like, yeah, you hit all of the notes of South Fork.
Yeah. My husband used to be an Army Ranger and he was stationed in Fort Benning, Georgia. And so when he got out of the military, I was living with him in Georgia for a little while. And then we decided to drive home with all his stuff. And we drove all the way across and we drove across Texas. And both of us at one point coming across Texas was like, it's really beautiful here. Like we should really come back and like spend some time in Texas. But we took some time getting through the state a little bit and made a few stops and stuff, and we just loved it. And it always kind of stuck with me. Texas was so different from California, which is what I'm used to. And so yeah, so when I was writing books, I was like, one of these days I'm going to write a book about a ranch in Texas because I mean, you just drive through Texas. That's all it is, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's all that down home, country.
It
Yeah,
is for sure.
yeah.
Chicken fried steak and all of that good stuff. You must have been driving through not in the summertime. It must have been like spring or fall.
I think it was like April we came
Yeah,
home.
that's called spring. That's called
Yeah.
spring. We get it for a week. We get a week of it. And
I'm
it's
pretty sure it was
beautiful.
April. It was beautiful. It was green. We were up kind
It's
of in
green. Oh
northern
yeah.
Texas. So, it was green up there. I think we had a beautiful thunderstorm. Like in California, it
Mhm.
rains, but we don't have like thunderstorms. And so anytime when we lived in Georgia, there was this beautiful thunderstorms out there. And so Texas had a really lovely one for us, which we enjoyed a lot. We love a good thunderstorm.
Yeah. I was like, It was not it was not anywhere from June through September that you drove through Texas and thought it was beautiful because we do have grass. That's why we have blue bonnets and stuff. And that's like March and April. It's very beautiful. It's like 70 degrees and then it goes down to 60 degrees at night. It's gorgeous. It's wonderful. Doesn't last. It doesn't last.
No, here
Uh,
where I live here in California, I'm in the middle of California in the Bay Area. But same thing. We get a beautiful spring, wildflowers everywhere,
mm,
and then everything dies for the summer and
yeah,
everything's brown, and you're like, we don't want to go outside, it's too hot. Although this summer has been very mild. It was like 78 today. I was just like, what's happening? Normally we'd be in the hundreds by now, but we've
yeah.
had like a mild summer.
That's because the Midwest has all of our bad weather. So, they've got the sweating corn and all kinds of stuff that I won't talk about, but I find funny because, this was our first week that we actually reached 100 in Texas, and it's already the end of July, which is like usually the whole month of July is like that. So it's just like really strange. And then I wanted to talk about your book covers because
Okay.
these, how am I going to put this? They're pretty.
Okay. Good.
They're fireworks. They're pink and blue, but it doesn't say Texas.
No. What it was that in the book starts out on the 4th of July and ends
Right.
with the 4th of July. And so that's what the fireworks were for, was because that's how the book begins and ends, pretty much. And so yeah, so I went with fireworks. I had to I hired a design artist to do the covers for me. I figured all my other books had, cowboys on them and everything, and these books were different, so I wanted to differentiate them a little bit, and I wanted to keep them kind of simple, so that people would be like, "What? Wait, what is that? What's that about?"
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
when and Yeah, and in the opening scene, it is the fire. It is, the 4th of July picnic, and we do have fireworks in Texas for both New Year's and the 4th of July. So,
yeah. So
yeah.
that's all that was just, and then the first book is pink because it's mostly about Brooke, and then the second book is blue because it's mostly about him. About Cody like
Oh,
redeeming himself and making her fall in love with him and taking care of her and their relationship. So See Me is basically twofold. Brooke wants Cody to see her as she is now, grown up as an adult, as a woman. But then also Adam, who's stalking her, wants her to see him as the person that could be in her life. And then the love me part is that, of course, Adam wants her to love him. But also at that point, Cody has decided that he loves her, and now he's got to get her to love him back after she's kind of backed off and been like, this is just a huge mess. I don't know that we can make this, going
yeah.
forward. I don't think we can do this. We've lost too much. We've, too much has been done. And so he has to convince her that after all this time, he's the one who's finally has to convince her to love him
Mm.
back and like marry him. So yeah, so that was kind of the See Me, Love Me.
Well, that's interesting because now I know I will call this the gender reveal covers.
They kind of are, yeah.
Right. Okay. I love
Yeah.
this. Okay. All right. So now we've got 5 minutes to play the Fresh Fiction Facts,
Okay.
which I think that what did I just do? Okay. No, no. Okay, now I'm gonna have to do them off the top of my head. This is not good. All right. Well, anyhow. So you're on the road trip. You're going across Texas. It's like never gonna end. You're going from Georgia to California. You hit Texas. It's like, it's like 1,200 miles to go across one end to the go, if you catty corner across Texas. But you're stopping to get gas, fuel, and some snacks for the road. What would they be?
Um, Doritos, a Snickers
Mhm.
bar, a bottle of water, and some corn nuts probably.
Okay. All right.
I'm a junk food junkie, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. And I don't think you need a bottle of water unless you get that whole big gallon. Okay. When you're traveling in Texas, you want to make sure you have a lot of water.
You definitely need
So
a lot of water there, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And they do sell water at all of the food stand, the whole of the things. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah. Of all of the authors that you have read over the years, and you have the opportunity to be on the selection committee to put up this new monument that's going to be to great authors, living or dead, which four would you choose?
Oh, wow. Okay. Jay Crownover writes the best emotional love stories ever. I love her. Um, Jill Chavez, she makes me laugh. And her books are so sweet and like I just love her books that, they like lift my mood after I write really horrible things. I love to read her. Um, Sophie Jordan, another great writer. Um, and a fourth, oh God. I just read the best series, and I don't know this author. I've never met her, but I loved. It was a series of 10 books called the Brash Brothers. I can't say that. Brash Brothers. It's the series. 10 books. All these great men who
If a
form
nigga
a
knock
found
me out
family.
and got them
What?
phones out, I'm gonna shoot.
Hey.
Anyways, her name is Jenna Miles, Myles, and she was
Uh-huh.
a fantastic writer. So just such great stories.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. And well, we don't have time to really do any more of these because we need to do a Q&A. But before we end the recorded part, I want you to tell us two things. One, what are you working on now? What can we expect in the future? And then the second one is going to be how do readers stay in touch with you so they can keep up to date on what you're working on now?
Okay. What I'm working on now is the book that I get questions about like almost every day. So I just had put out the Dark Horse Dive Bar, and in the Dark Horse Dive Bar series, everybody met the Wild's cousin, Hawk Gun, who is a helicopter pilot. And I am like chapters away from finishing that book. I have like maybe 4 more chapters to go to finish it. And I hope to put it out by the end of the year. And it's called I Got Lucky. So Hawk's love interest is Lucky Sinclair. So he gets lucky. And so that's what I'm working on now. In fact, I was working on it earlier before I got on here. So but yes, everybody wants his book, and it is coming, I promise. And then
Good, 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 good.
to keep in touch with me, you can go to my website, www.jennifer-ryan.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. I only send them out when I have news of books coming out or books on sale. Or you can follow me on my Facebook page, and then on Instagram.
Okay. All right, Jennifer, it is always a delight to have you. And I'm looking forward to the dive bar series because I love those. They're just so delightful. And I encourage people to read See Me, Love Me is a little bit different, although it has all the drama and all the love and the great characters and the evil villains that you could possibly want. So get those, and they are downloadable and they're available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have a subscription for that, I would encourage you to pick those up. Thank you, Jennifer, for joining us, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. So happy to talk to you.